This is a book you can freely download on the Hebrew Bible, and it's only in Hebrew. And the reason I'm making a video on it is because this one is free. See, the one where I'm previewing there, that's what we consider to be the standard old Hebrew Bible. It's called the BHS, and it's got pretty much everybody that uses a Hebrew Bible uses this text. Okay, it's been standardized over the centuries. But unless you have BibleWorks or some kind of comprehensive software, and even if you do, you're still going to wish that you had the hard copy. Now, I probably have a hard copy like this somewhere. I haven't looked in my own library. But what distinguishes this one is that, first of all, it's in Unicode. At least the title is in Unicode. This is an actual physical copy that was taken from the UC Berkeley Library and digitized by Google. You can see that. All right. And this is the actual book itself. Now, let's see if I can widen it here. Well, I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it this way. Okay, as you'll notice, the title is the Hebrew Bible, and it's because it's 1905 when everybody was still speaking Latin. See, we all used to know Latin and Greek like we knew English at the beginning of the 20th century. And because we got lazy, we don't know that anymore. If you were raised with these languages, they wouldn't be hard to you. Okay, so it was common to write in Latin alongside the Bible, okay, because that was the language that everybody knew who was going to school. That's what you learned in high school. I've got textbooks from high schools in different parts of the country as late as 1950, because I was part of that group, where Latin was taught as a matter of course. All right. So, but my purpose in this video here, is that this is just the text in the Hebrew of Genesis. Bereshit bara Elohim la la la. Okay, that's Genesis 1:1, and you can see these little things here. Those are markers that the Jews used to tell you when a verse ended or a paragraph ended. It's really important. That was how I learned how to parse Isaiah 53, was due to these little marks here, although they were samixes in Isaiah 53. Now, what I want to focus on is this thing down here. I don't know if you remember me talking about it, but this whole business of textual criticism has to do with other copies which have other words in the verse. And the name that the scholars use for this kind of listing of other copies with differences is called an apparatus. And what distinguishes this book, which you can freely download, see, you can download the PDF, but you can't search it, obviously. What distinguishes this book and makes it worth downloading is the fact that you've got an apparatus here. It's telling you, like this fancy looking M right there. That's for Masoretic text, but there's more than one, okay? And they don't all have the same words. The trouble I'm having is I have to learn to read this is all shorthand, okay? CF means to compare, CP means to compare, and then the S, I forget what that means, and that designates a certain manuscript, Hebrew manuscript, okay? These words are actually Latin words. But even though they're Latin words, they're abbreviations, and I'm not sure what those abbreviations all mean yet. I have to learn how to read this shorthand. I haven't spent a lot of time learning how to read it. But what they're doing here is they're telling you how the texts differ. See, like that's verse 10, and here's the difference in verse 10. Okay? So I wanted you to see this is what an apparatus typically looks like, and I'm going to show you the Greek one for the New Testament in the next segment. But this is for the Old Testament, and this is just one of many. I mean, you can buy them too. That you can get that have at the bottom, like little footnotes, an apparatus telling you how the major other copies differ from this one. Okay, they took this one and then they made it what's called your copy text. And then instead of making the changes, they just show what the differences are in the other texts. Okay, and that's done, you know, every time. See, this is Genesis and called Bereshit. Okay, you see, and how they got little indentations here. That also has a significance I'm not going to go into, and gaps between lines, and then here's the beginning of chapter 2. Okay, but you see, these are the little notes about how other texts in Hebrew differ. Okay, and sometimes in Greek too, as we saw on the first page. But you see, and that's really helpful, especially if you're learning how to read Hebrew. You can just do this. Now, see, but their notes are in Latin. So you're going to have to learn a little bit of Latin. It's not really hard, but what's hard is, I know what these Latin words mean, but they're still abbreviations. These are like, they're technical abbreviations, so I'm going to have to go look them up in some, you know, glossary of apparatus notations. These are specific apparatus notations. I mean, this means you should see, and these are addendums, and you know, they're talking about specific things, but I'm not 100% sure what the shorthand, even though it's in Latin that I can read, what it all means. I got to go look it up. Okay, but this is the kind of idea of what an apparatus is. You have to be at the footnotes. Okay, in the next segment we're going to go through what an apparatus looks like for the Greek text, but it's substantially similar to this, except the letters are in Greek. Okay, signing off for the moment. Okay, now we're looking at what a Greek New Testament might have as an apparatus. This isn't a good one, but I couldn't find the good one I wanted online. This is Matthew's Gospel, and as you can see, it's a nice clear print. Okay, let me make it bigger. Wait a minute. There, as you can see, it's nice clear print. Kara means according to. We usually just say Matthew, but that's Matthew. All right, and here's the clear print, and right here at the bottom is the apparatus. This particular apparatus is very small. It's basically comparing to Westcott Hort. Okay, I don't remember what either. RP means Robinson Pierpoint. So this is a very limited apparatus. It's just talking about the differences in Westcott Hort and Robinson Pierpoint, and I think that they're basing it on, let me see, if they're basing it on NA27, which is what I wanted to show you. Hello, come on. There we go, about this book. I don't want Google Play Now. Don't go to Google Play Now. Okay, the foundation of the Nestle Aland United Bible Society editions. Oh, my damn. I'm sorry, I've got my mouse is locked up. I don't know what, it never fails when I'm trying to make a video and I'm going to say something important, my mouse locks up. Alright. It's not clear to me that they're using NA27 here. It's just landmark achievement, blah-de-blah. Alright, and you can't know what version of the Greek text you're looking at unless you actually compare it. Okay? That's why I laugh at the KJVO people, because they wouldn't know the difference between an Alexandrian text and another kind of text just from the words. Okay, they'd have to have it identified. Okay, and they've never been able to meet that challenge either that I put in my challenge video 2 years ago. But anyway, this is their table of contents, which obviously you can look at. Okay, obviously it looks like they're saying that this is the Westcott Hort text. Let's have a look and see. Come on. Okay. So this is the Westcott-Hort text and the variants in it. Okay. See, unless they tell you which one it is, you don't know off the top of your head. Okay, so they wouldn't know which parts of the Textus Receptus were really Alexandrian in origin or not. In other words, their own Textus Receptus in the KJVO movement is composed partly of text that is actually Alexandrian in nature. They don't know that because they can't tell the origin of every verse because they don't know how to read the Greek. Okay? Now see, he's just saying, the different kinds of Greek New Testaments that are out there. Okay? But what I wanted to show, and the only purpose of this video, but my mouse keeps hanging up. I'm sorry. Is just to show, that when you've got text, there we go. See, oh, the mouse is not working. This part down here is an apparatus. It's telling you about the differences. See, like this is the difference in the NA27. This is the difference in Westcott-Hort because there's more than one so-called Westcott-Hort text. All right. This is the RP represents Robinson-Pierpoint, NA represents Nestle-Aland, WH is Westcott-Hort. So as you can see, this kind of apparatus, it's short, it's not really covering the whole Byzantine family. Robinson-Pierpoint is represented, but it's, there are a lot of other critical editions that aren't being represented here. But the point is this is what an apparatus looks like. It's verse 9, Westcott-Hort, Oxas. Okay? And then you got different pointing because they didn't use diacritical marks in the original. You got different pointing in Robinson-Pierpoint in NA27. I'm presuming this is NA27. It might be NA26. Okay? And again, see, you've got Amos and Ammon. See how small the differences are? It's where you have diacritical marks of that kind on the same word versus no diacritical marks there, or just the double apostrophe there. Or Ammon versus Amos. See how minor these differences are? Okay, now bear in mind that these differences are minor partly because over the centuries, any mistakes that have been made, a lot of them have been corrected. This is the kind of detail that God has employed thousands and thousands of people, even those who don't believe in Him, to employ. And why? Because one thing all these people have in common, whether they're Catholic, Calvinist, SDA, who knows, is they're all anal about the text. And maybe they're anal to prove the Bible wrong. And so they want to find these differences so they can say, oh, it's Christo Jesu here, meaning Christ Jesus, versus just Christo, Christ. And they say, well, see, the Bible, God didn't keep His promise because this says Christo Jesu versus Christu, just plain Christu in another text. They're anal. That's what these scholars have in common. That's why they ought to be paid $1 million a year, each of them. They're anal. And so over the centuries, you got minor differences like this. Is it Christu or is it Christu Jesu? Is it Christ only? Oh, that's Westcott-Hort. Or no, this is Westcott-Hort. Okay, and here's another Westcott-Hort that omits the word Jesu but has Christu. See how minor a difference that is? Christu is the genitive of Christ. Genitive case. Christos is the nominative case. That's the kind of difference we're talking about here. And this thing here is an apparatus to tell you where the differences are. Now, the one I wanted to show you, I can't show you. The one I wanted to show you is not available for preview, and I couldn't get it at Amazon to show a preview, because sometimes Amazon will give you a preview. Oh, my mouse is hooking up again. Oh, this is so annoying. The one I wanted to show you, sorry about my mouse. That's Westcott and Hort, obviously, because Westcott's one of the... This is the one I wanted to show you. This is the one that everybody today, you know, all the turf wars, we have turf wars over which version of the Bible text is best. It's not only the KJVO who are guilty of that. Okay? That's one of the reasons for the criticism of Westcott and Hort, is they were partial to only certain texts of the Bible and not others. Okay, well, the same thing is true here, is that the popular guy in town is Nestle Aland, and this particular one is the latest edition, although it's got more emendations after that. It's called Nestle Aland 27, and you can get a current version of it. The latest version was published in 2004. You can get it at Amazon for about $50, I think. It's in my shopping cart. I haven't bought it yet. But that you saw just a few minutes ago, despite the mouse, you saw that little set of footnotes at the bottom with the abbreviations about the differences versus Christou or Christou Jesu. All right? That's an apparatus. This book has a bigger apparatus, but not as big as it ought to be. Okay, what we don't have in Christendom, because of the stupid turf wars over which Bible is best, which Bible Greek text is best, we don't have one conclusive place where you can go where, okay, fine, I'm going to pick out of the 25,000 different texts. It was really about 3,000 complete New Testaments. I'm going to pick one, and then all the other ones where there are variations, I'm going to list them at the bottom of each page so you can see all the variations. Nobody's done that yet. Why? I don't know. But it's the most useful thing you could get. If we could get this in software or hardware, Bible studies would be a whole lot easier. And then the only other thing we need to do is to start teaching our children when they're 5 years old, like the Jews teach their kids Hebrew. If we started teaching our kids the Hebrew and Greek, then they wouldn't have to go through all this hassle that we do. The Bible's not hard to learn. They're just words. You learned English, or whatever your native language is. Okay, so learn this right alongside. Most people in history are trilingual. Why aren't we? Well, there's only one answer. We don't really care what the word has to say. We're lazy. So let's stop being lazy. Let's all start learning this and start teaching it to our kids. And then this apparatus thing that I just showed you will be easy for people to understand, whether it's in Hebrew or Greek. End of commercial message, signing off. I got to add this. On screen at Barnes & Noble is the Theological Word Book of the Old Testament. I call it TWOT, and in my videos, when you see me do Old Testament exegesis, I use this lexicon the most. I end up turning to it over and over because the guys that are behind it, Gleason Archer, Walke, okay, and Harris, they tend to focus on etymology, and they tend to show the semantic range of the words. It's part of BibleWorks already. So if you own BibleWorks, you don't need to buy this. But if you own BibleWorks, you might want to have a hard copy. I prefer to use BibleWorks with this in it. But, you know, $18 for one used, that's really awesome. Okay, so you might want to consider buying this. They spend a lot of time trying to explain the larger meaning, the expanded meaning, the etymology, and it's really easy to understand. If you've watched my videos on the Old Testament where I've done exegesis and I've shown you the lexicon, this is the lexicon I almost always use. Now there are two more important lexicons as far as scholars are concerned, which are Brown, Driver, Briggs, and HALOT, which I'll have to shut down this particular video and start up another one. You can also buy HALOT on CD. I just found that out. But frankly, Brown, Driver, Briggs, and HALOT don't give you a lot of detail. what they do is they give you a lot of citations. And that's really fine. It's like the apparatus we just saw. It's very much abbreviated stuff. You have to get used to the abbreviations, and that's kind of a hurdle, okay, a little learning curve. But they provide you with abbreviations because their main goal is to list all the places where the word occurs and let you make your own decisions about its meaning. Okay, whereas the difference with these guys is they try to survey the meaning and say it, not just tell you where the stuff occurs. And in fact, they sort of slight all the places where it occurs except in Bible. And they focus instead on telling you the range of meaning. That's why I like their stuff so much. Okay, and here you can get it for 18 bucks. Okay, so if you're into wanting to learn the Hebrew, start here. That's what I use when I do my BibleWorks video. And again, if you've already got BibleWorks software, this is already embedded in your stuff as part of the price. Okay, this is HALOT that I was telling you about before. You have two choices with BibleWorks. You can accept their, they have what they call modules. They have a default list of lexicons they give you in addition to the text, which is practically every Bible that, translation that there is, plus the Hebrew, which is now Leningrad in BibleWorks 8, and, the Greek texts, which are the main families of texts, not every single version. And one of the modules you can buy is called HALOT, and that's what this is right here in front of you. But this one, I didn't know till just now, is sold separately as a CD-ROM. So you could buy this separately as a CD-ROM, and let's see how much it runs. Oh, I have no idea, because I bought mine as part of BibleWorks. I had to pay $75 for mine. And of course the mouse is hanging up. Oh, it's not showing. Okay, here we go. Oh no, it's not showing at Barnes & Noble. Okay, let me put this down. Let's see if I'll get it. Okay. Whoa. I should say CD-ROM, shouldn't I? Let's see if we can get it. That's concise. You don't want holiday. You want Kohler Baumgartner. And is this the CD-ROM? They don't make it clear. Okay, you flunk. Barnes & Noble. That's one reason I don't like shopping at Barnes & Noble, is their website is nowhere near as good as Amazon's. So I should have taken you to Amazon. The trouble is at Amazon they will. Here's the CD-ROM maybe. No, that's Brill. Is this a CD-ROM? Let's see if it's CD-ROM. It doesn't say. You flunk, Barnes & Noble. I used to love shopping at Barnes & Noble. But now it's like a pain in the neck to use their website. Hello? Here we go. Ew. Okay, well, the cost of BibleWorks by itself is $350, and you get a bunch of lexicons already built in it, and practically every Bible translation known to man, plus the 5 major text families of the Greek, plus the Greek Old Testament, plus the Leningrad for $350. For an additional $75, you can buy this along with BDAG, which is the Bauer Danker, king of lexicons, supposedly. Not really all that good sometimes. But for $150 you can get both this and the Bauer Danker lexicon, or for $75 you can get this by itself. I submit to you that you'd be smarter instead of spending $243 for just this CD-ROM by itself, that you get the HALOT as part of BibleWorks. Now, maybe the HALOT as part of BibleWorks is abridged. I'm not sure. You can ask them. But that's expensive for just the lexicon. I mean, for an extra $100, you could have BibleWorks. Okay, so you'd be better off buying BibleWorks for $350 and then adding $75 to get this. Okay, so that closes that out. Okay, mouse is slow. Mouse is slow. Maybe it's cheaper at Amazon, but I'm not going to check with the mouse being this slow. So I think I'm going to sign off now. There you go, HALOT. That's what it's called in TextCrit circles. HALOT. But not for $243. I'd buy it for $75 as part of BibleWorks. Okay, here's a book you can download. I'll put a link in the video description. This is the Driver Briggs. This is an older book, obviously, because you can download it for free on PDF, like right here, which I'm going to do after I finish making this video. Obviously, the stuff is going to be somewhat dated, but it's considered a classic in its field because he is considered one of the premier Old Testament scholars in Christianity. Okay, you have Christianity sort of separated itself from Judaism, so there's always been this kind of competition that goes on. But Driver is one of the recognized authorities, okay. And I'm sure Gail Riplinger has said that he's a gay evolutionist, so then you definitely want to read him. This is his book on the treatise on the uses of tenses in Hebrew. And if you want to, and I recommend it very heartily, keep this link online, because the book you download, you will not be able to search. Of course, it's going to be hard to search on Hebrew letters anyway, but you can search on English meanings. Okay, this is part of BibleWorks also, but not this book. His lexicon, the BDB lexicon, is part of BibleWorks, but this particular book is really helpful. And if you keep the link here in Google Books, you'll be at least able to search in the English for English words, and then you can see what the Hebrew letters are. And see, here you've got basic things about accents, perfect, imperfect, hypothetical, circumstantial, and Arabic. Now, again, when you do this kind of thing, see, it's mostly in English. And he's comparing it to the Greek, which is really nice. Okay? And you can increase the size of it by doing this. Clicking on this increase. Okay? And see, he's got footnotes too. And he's showing you, like, I don't know what the title of this chapter is. I just found this link. It's about the perfect tense. Okay? There you go. So, and then of course you can go to the table of contents, which is up here, and they don't, the people who read this stuff in Google, they don't always do a great job of indexing it, but that's okay, because you can at least, page back. See, here's your introduction. Alright? And they didn't do a very good job of that, so you're going to have to download it to read the introduction. Okay, or just page to page 1. Okay, see, there you go. And then here's his introduction. Alright, this guy is good to read. I would really recommend downloading this if you want to get a sense of the tense of the verb in Hebrew. Because it was really, in Hebrew they have done and not done. That's basically it. But then they have all these nuances that they add, not only in context but with other words, and you'll find that out as you go through it. But this is really cool. I'm really grateful he's got this. So download this. Link will be in the video description. Okay, this is, I explained that my favorite lexicon for Hebrew was the Word Book of the Old Testament. And then I briefly showed you Brown Driver Briggs. Well, I couldn't show you Brown Driver Briggs, but I showed you a book by Driver. And you can get Brown Driver Briggs and Twot as part of BibleWorks. And we did go through also HALOT, which is so expensive at Barnes & Noble, you're better off buying BibleWorks and just getting HALOT extra for $75. In the Greek category, you have the Dictionary of the New Testament by Gerhard Kittel, Kittel. You can get that in hardback for about $500 at Amazon, or you can get the software version, which I have, for about $200 at Logos. I can't stand the Logos interface. I did a video on that, so just look it up in my uploads. And that's considered one of the kings of Greek lexicons. The other one, which I also can't show you, is Bauer Danker, Arndt and Gingrich, which I believe is a 10-volume set in hardback. I'm not sure how many volumes it is, but you can get it in BibleWorks as an additional module for $75. At least that's what I paid for it. But one of the lexicons that's for free is here on screen. In BibleWorks, this is free, but you can also get it nearly for free, apparently, at Word Search. Now, this is not going to be a hardback. This is software, and as you can see, it's on sale. I'm really surprised about this. For $1, you can add it to your shopping cart, and then you can click here to get the view engine for free. And apparently it'll work on either a Mac, I forget where I saw that, it'll work on either a Mac or Windows. And it's Thayer's Greek English Lexicon. This is the unabridged version. It was from 1885. I can't find it now, but somewhere it also exists in Google Books where you can download it as a PDF. Okay, but when you got a lexicon, it's really better to have it as software. So this thing says view a sample. So here in this tab, this is a sample of what it looks like. Okay, and the reason why I like that Thayer, this particular entry doesn't really tell you much. But it's got the passages, their version of it, it's got the passages linked, so you can look up the passage, and that's a nice feature. BibleWorks doesn't really have that. Okay? I mean, for $1 you can't go wrong. But what's really great about Thayer, and in many ways I prefer him to the kings like Kittel and Bauer Danker, although Kittel really goes into it. Thayer focuses on, again, just like Twot does, what Twot does for Hebrew, Thayer does for Greek. He focuses on etymology. Their angles, the meaning, the cultural meaning of the words is really important. And Thayer is not afraid to cover the, you have to call, I guess, controversial nature of some of the words that are used in the Bible. Whereas Bauer Danker and Twot, HALOT and Brown Driver Briggs for the Hebrew, they shy away from controversial words. Thayer doesn't do that so much. And if you've seen me do my videos where I've had to show you, like, in Numbers 5:27, God orders an abortion. Okay, only Twot had the courage to talk about that fact. And I showed you that right from the lexicon, so you knew it wasn't brain out making it up. Because personally, I don't have any need to, say one thing or another about abortion. I don't believe in it, but that's what the Bible says, and that's what it was. And the Old Testament Twot lexicon recognized it. Well, Thayer does the same thing for Greek. Okay, there are words in the New Testament that are very coarse, particularly when used by Paul. Ephesians 416 just came to mind. The words sum bibadzo and sum armologeo. Those are copulating words. You won't find anybody admit that but Thayer. It's real important that Paul uses those coarse words in Ephesians 4:16. He's trying to set up a parallel between God making love to you and the physical act, which there's nothing wrong with it between husband and wife. He's setting up the parallel that we're the bride of Christ. So using really coarse language. But you won't see the other lexicons admit that. The other lexicons in Greek, when you've got coarse words or words that are, politically unacceptable, the other lexicons will shy away from telling you what those words are. Thayer is more courageous. Okay? So for $1, you can get a better lexicon. I'm really surprised. I just found this site. And then you can download right here their Bible Explorer in order to view it. And then when you do, this is what you get. Okay? And the actual lexicon, this is a typical, this is an easy term. It's a proper name. Okay? But, when if you looked up sumbibadzo and sunarmologeo here, you would get that coarse stuff that I was telling you. Because he's willing to admit that one of those words, I forget which one, means to mount. And you know what kind of mounting I'm talking about. I don't need to be more graphic. The other lexicons won't admit that. So that's why you need this one. And for $1, you can't go wrong. So if you can't spring for BibleWorks, because this is already included in BibleWorks, then here you can buy it separately, okay, at these people. And I'm sure they got other stuff that you might want. See, they have books for BibleWorks. Some of the modules for BibleWorks, they also interface. So you can add this to BibleWorks. Okay, maybe. I'd have to look. But see, here are the books that you can add to BibleWorks. I forgot that I still need to look at this, because BibleWorks talks about this on their own homepage. There's lots and lots of stuff you can add to BibleWorks if you want to. So, but Thayer is already included in BibleWorks, so you don't need to do that. But if you're using Accordance or eSword or something, eSword has an abridged version of Thayer's that they offer, but this is a whole enchilada, and I highly recommend you get it. Like I said, the biggest thing about Thayer that's good is he goes into etymology, and they're not afraid to admit stuff that's politically sensitive. Okay, the Bible is written in a very lively manner, and I'm sorry, if you're a legalistic Christian and you really knew what the Bible said, you would be horrified. Paul uses the S word in Philippians 3:8, like it or lump it. Okay? And he uses coarse language, and so does God in the Old Testament. All right? Because sometimes that's the best language to use. It's all about what communicates. And if you want to know better what the Bible's really saying in Greek, get this.